Today, we are talking about scaling, right? All the great things about scaling. Actually, no, not really. Everyone thinks growth is great. There's some real problems with scaling. There's some challenges, some things you probably should think about when you're thinking about scaling and growth. We're going to get into those today here on a very special episode of Drink While You Think, the happy hour conversation between two firm owners, me and this Joker Matthew, who are actually together here in a little bit of kind of paradise. We're going to be talking about the weird things we do as always, and talking about scaling. But first, Matthew, can you tell us who our sponsor is today?
Well, it's a really appropriate sponsor that we're talking about scaling, because you can use Tallyfor for all of your tax scaling needs. Tallyfor, one of the key things to making sure you get all of your M1 adjustments right. Tallyfor, the tax person's dream. Now that you're out of tax season, look at your process and incorporate Tallyfor. Thank you, Tallyfor, for your sponsorship and sending us these beers.
These great beers. So we are drinking. We got Peninsula Lager.
Yeah, we're in San Diego, so we're drinking San Diego beers. Peninsula Lagers from Bay City Brewing. So that one's there. So it's a what do we? I had it here just a second. It's like I think it's a it's like a 5%er. I think. Yeah, 5% ABV. Okay. Sweet, semi-sweet amber nectar brewed for the everyday. So that'll work.
I may have had one or two of those yesterday. I liked it, but I'm drinking the Hess Hop Cloud Hazy IPA. Pretty solid. This one's a 7.0 ABV.
A little heavier.
A little heavier. But yeah, we're here in awesome San Diego. We're at the
Accounting Web, their
Summits.
first U.S. live summit. So they're bringing what they brought to the U.K. here, and it's been phenomenal. If you didn't check it out, they already announced next year is going to be in San Diego in kind of the May timeframe as well. I think they said around the 16th of May. So check it out, guys.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it. If you're not here, I mean, you should be here next time. So cheers, dude. And we're together. We get to be together doing this. This is awesome. So
it's always nice to be together, dude.
So I got this topic based off of something you said today. You were on a panel today, and it was a good question, I thought.
Great question.
That came out of the back of the panel that Matthew was on with a bunch of other firm owners and some folks. And the question, I guess, really around like scaling, about like things. I think the exact question, I may get it wrong. It's kind of more like, what things should you be thinking about considering as you grow? Like, right? Yours was the topic was really around marketing. But yeah, kind of, you took it in a little bit of a different direction. I wonder if that surprised people, your response. We'll kind of break it down and we'll kind of just talk a little bit about scaling. I think that we hear this a lot from other firm owners. They're like, wow, you guys have grown so big and you're scaling like crazy, which is true. I think it's looked at externally, objectively as, oh, that's just so awesome, right? There's some great things about it, but I'm not sure some of the challenges get highlighted or things to consider. So you start with, when you said like, okay, you better get used to this. And I think there were some people in the room who were like, what did he just say? Because it was uncomfortable. Do you remember what it was you talked about? Like, get used to
not knowing who your clients are, like running into them in person. And this flips you out. It flips me out too, though. Like, I don't, but you see it more, like where you run into people in the wild and they're like, hey, we're your customer. And we go blank and like, I don't know your name. I don't know your company. I have no idea if we're doing good work. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Like, all the things run through your head as a business owner. You're just like, oh my gosh, like at scale, we lost that. When did we lose that? Well, like, how many customers do you think?
It's started getting around, you get around like, as we go back to last episode, we kind of referred to, or the episode a couple episodes before, probably around 150, 200 clients. And you're starting to get like, oh, I kind of recognize their name, maybe off the AR aging or some customer report. You've heard team members talk about them, but you're kind of getting a little foggy on who they are.
Yeah.
And then it becomes north of that and it starts falling off quickly and you're not sure you know any of that. Not any, but a lot of the clients. We did not plan like, oh, we know this is going to happen. It just happened. And we had to get used to it. But are you used to it yet?
No, it's so uncomfortable. It's like the most uncomfortable thing. And it's just very unnatural. And I feel guilty about it a lot of times. I feel uncomfortable around it. It's a really weird, uncomfortable feeling that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
If you decide to scale.
I think it's a good healthy exercise though, because when you described that really well today in that room full of firm owners, I think I could see kind of light bulbs going off with people of like, wow, I have to think about, do I want to be that kind of firm?
Right.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I want people to know, like, that's okay to not be that. Like, just know when you make this decision, like, you're going to have to deal with some of the bad that comes with some of the good, like the scale. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, yeah, we're both still uncomfortable with it. We're both very people. We love people and our clients. And so I think that's where some other firms who are up on the panel who are a little smaller, like, wow, I love having a good relationship with all my clients. And it seems very antithetical. You would say, well, you can't have that, but you truly can't. The numbers, the math doesn't work.
The math doesn't work. Yeah.
It doesn't work. So it's off-putting to me. I will say though, one of the first times I felt good about it was when that situation you mentioned happened, like where, oh, Kenji, nice to meet you. You're with Acuity. We use Acuity, and you kind of go, I don't know your name. What's your company's name? And like, and also, you doing good? How's our team doing? And they came and they were like, we have loved y'all's service. The team is great. You guys are doing great work. We're really happy. And then it was, I was expecting the opposite, honestly. You're expecting like, okay, well, I'm not involved as a firm owner. It can't be as good as it would be if I was doing all this.
There's a lot of ego in that.
Tons of ego. I don't ego, but also like, it is a bit true. Like nobody cares in certain regards as much as firm owners do. Like it's our baby. So you think that like maybe we care. It doesn't mean
we care about our company more. I think we've recruited people that care about our clients as much as we care about our clients.
That's
like
true.
if you recruit well and I would say to a person, like they have a passion for our customers more than they do. I think this is with most firms. So like they care about their clients more than they care about the firm a lot of times. So it's an interesting thing. So
it is. But that felt good. It felt good to have someone say, no, you guys are doing a great job. Makes me, I love your team. And that was very affirming. And I think that's something you should know and expect. Like that's what you're shooting for, right? That's really what you're looking for, is that kind of experience. I think that, but it was interesting. And so I watched everyone kind of go through that and kind of process that in the room. And like, okay. But then there was a follow-up question.
You had the moderator.
The moderator
says, well, at least you know all your people. And we're like you don't at 150. Like we sometimes don't meet people until AcuityCon. We try to get them into the new employee quarterly meeting, but like we get half an hour with them. Like you don't know them there. Like you don't, like you have a couple of tidbits, but you don't know them. Like, and you're in a virtual setting. So I think that blew everybody away almost more.
I think so. I don't think I think the first thing around clients was a little shocking. And then like it was bomb drop when it was like, wow, you guys don't know all your team members. And I think the realization hit pretty quick when people go, oh, you have 150 team members. I could see how that would be very difficult knowing all of them, but it's also uncomfortable. Like it's just very uncomfortable. That one's more so uncomfortable. And there's some things that, I think we both do. I'm trying to do programmatically to build some relationship with team members to try to make sure they feel connected.
But I mean, I don't think our team members want like necessarily relationships with us. They want us to dig in when it's important. Yeah. And we do that. Like if there's a problem and they need us to dig in, we'll dig in.
Yeah.
But that doesn't require a personal relationship and things like that. That's a little bit impractical. If you go back to the friends episode, like how many friends you can have. Like if you get the business any bigger, you like literally can't have that many relationships, right? That are genuine.
You really can't do that. But I guess that's maybe the moral of some of this is prepare to be uncomfortable. If you're planning to grow and scale, prepare to be uncomfortable. Especially one of the other panelists from Lisio, Chris from Lisio, that's a software company, right? So it's a little different when you think about scale there when you're providing an actual tool or a piece of software or a product, to where you still want to have a strong brand. You still want to meet the needs of the customer, but you're not doing it with a human element. You're not doing it with people. It's not service based.
Right.
So it's a little different. But when you've got a service-based business like accountants do, this is where you need to just think through and how comfortable are you in having a business that you're not going to know all your team members, and you're not going to know all your clients. And if you can say, hey, I'm cool with that, then I think there's some ways to kind of get into it and start preparing for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are some thoughts you have about like, okay, let's say you're starting to hit some of those milestones. You're starting to track toward 100 clients. You've maybe got 20 team members or something. You're starting to get there. Can you think back, and some of this probably touches on the Friends episode, but of where like, oh, be ready for this to happen, or this, or here's some things we would maybe do differently looking back.
Be ready for people to leave the firm without talking to you first.
Yeah,
that was hard.
Yeah,
like that's a really hard thing. Like this is a real, like Acuity is a real personal thing to us, right? So like that we built a place that's not perfect for everybody, and people aren't comfortable talking to us because we haven't built that relationship before they leave to just get advice. So like a lot of times people leave and it's the right thing for them to do, right? But like my previous place, like I was always the guy they talked to before they quit. That was a big one. That was really hard for me, is people leaving before they talk to me. Like that was the one you have to really watch for. I don't know. You operated this a long time as a smaller firm.
Yeah.
Like what was the biggest change? Like where you started being like, oh, this is going to be different.
Well, I think one of the challenges I had is I'm pretty good at maintaining a lot of different relationships. I inherently like mixing and mingling with so many people. We're at these conferences, and I've had a bunch of friends and people joke about like, oh, you're really good at conferences because you like being out and about. So I think I probably was able to push through a little bit of a higher number, which actually wasn't necessarily a good thing. So I didn't really think through. I think we got up to like closer to 50 team members. And there were still a lot of one-on-ones, and there's still a lot of like people knew Kenji and Matthew, and it was just but then when it kind of started breaking, it broke kind of quick. And you did have that where people, you just realized people came and went through the organization that you didn't even know. Like we don't keep them anymore, but Kelly, who is really kind of managing for us a bit of our HR function before we brought Amber in recently, who's our new HR manager. Occasionally I'd have to go into her file drawer.
Enjoy your wedding, Amber.
Yeah, true.
Call out for Amber.
Call out for Amber, getting married right now.
Enjoy the honeymoon.
Oh my gosh. I'd occasionally have to go into Kelly's desk drawer, and it was on the file. It had all the employee files and past employee files.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
And it just gave me heartburn. I'd see these names of people who are long gone, or some you're like, well, I barely remember them. It just is a weird. So I'd say that's hard if you're a people person. That's very difficult. But building up some regular cadence, I think what I've started learning is, you said it a minute ago about you don't have to have a relationship with them. I think that's true. That sounds weird and maybe callous, because I think it sounds always good to say, well, I want relationships with my clients and with my team members. Yet I don't think we're saying that you shouldn't like know who they are at all. We've tried to focus more on, I have at least, the word belong. Like I really care about making sure people feel like they belong. And that was the shift we started making, was where initially they had to feel like I was there, making sure everyone felt like they belonged. Like if you knew Kenji and Kenji knew you and what was going on with their kiddos and when their birthday and all that stuff, they felt belonging. We're learning there are other ways to get people to feel like they belong and are connected, but don't have to be you and me taking everybody to lunch.
You know, another weird one is like when you want to spend time with people and they're like overly respectful of your time. They're like, oh, you probably have bigger, more important things to do. I got that from somebody about a week and a half ago. Like, you probably have more important things to do. And I had to stop and say, like, literally, like, this is one of my favorite things to do, is to know people. Like, I don't have the opportunity because we're virtual too. Like I would be the worst.
Yeah.
Like water cooler person. Like, you probably don't get me to leave the water cooler and talk to everybody, all of our people and stuff like that. So like when I get the opportunity, that has been hard for me, is that like people are like trying to respect my time too much for my comfort level. Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. Because I think that sense of getting a little bit isolated from the team, that stinks. I mean, that really, that hurts us, because we're like, oh, we get so much joy. That's the fun part about having a services-based business with the team, is you don't want to be isolated from that.
Especially when you hire like really talented people you consider peers from an accounting perspective. Like we have like the CFO team, the controller team, like in particular for me, because I would come up the hardcore accounting side, like they're like peer level on those topics, like going like, but then I have to build the business too. Like it's just a weird dynamic sometimes, right?
Yeah, it is a bit strange, having to go through that. But again, I think the learning can be that there are still ways to connect with team members through scaling, even while you're scaling there. And I think that we still get back to, I liked how you also were very unapologetic, because this topic kind of came up today. It wasn't exactly really even on message for what the whole panel was about, but people really gravitated toward it. And you could see a little bit of people kind of weighing both sides of like, do I stay small? Do I grow? And I did very much like, this is you and me, and this is everybody at Acuity knows this too. We're a firm who's growing. That is, when we say that unashamed, unabashedly, for us, we're just in that. We like growth. We like that. It's important to us.
From our professional, like we care about our professional development too. Like, and that's the new challenge. Like, how do you do this authentically? The first question was, how do we do it authentically at 50 people? How do we do it authentically at 100? How do we do it at 150? Now we want to know, how do we do this authentically at 250 people? How do we hit our BHAG of helping 5,000 entrepreneurs? Like, how do you help 5,000 entrepreneurs in their business? Like that kind of gets me up in the morning. So like that, like we don't have to apologize for that. Like you can choose different paths, and I can totally respect that. Yeah. But like for us, like that's what engages us.
And that is so helpful to tie it to the bigger, broader mission, the long-term mission, like Matthew mentioned. For us, it just gets us super excited and stoked about like helping all these innovative entrepreneurs. Okay, that's the mission. That's going to require some times of uncomfort for every one of us included, and all team members. Like, I don't know everybody else. I don't know all the clients, but that much bigger mission for us is super appealing. It's like just very exciting thinking about, wow, that is awesome impact we can have, because we've just had our careers have been built around innovative entrepreneurs. It's just exciting. So scale for us gets answered very quickly. Like, why grow? Why scale? We want to see that huge impact on innovative entrepreneurs. And you have the people issues, the client side stuff. You don't know everyone, but then there's a host of things around.
Oh, there's lots of good stuff.
Lots of great stuff.
But nobody talks about the bad stuff. Like nobody talks about the hard stuff. Right?
I mean, we saw other hard things too. Like, you start blowing through systems. There are systems that will not work or work as well as they used to. And those are tough. Like, those are really challenging. Where I mean, just absolutely like
Amex, dude.
Amex, or you get our billing system. You know, we had to go do an assessment of our billing system this year and realized that we had, we saw some clients of ours were receiving, how many invoices a month?
16.
It was like
6, something like that. Was it 20 something?
No,
it was
there
like
were a
16,
couple that
12.
were up there high. We had in the high teens, and like on average.
But as average, like it was average like six.
I think it was six
bills
a month from Acuity, and we're like, it's gotten so complicated. So we had to go do a
terrible experience.
That's a bad experience for a client, and because we had multiple billing systems, so we had to combine those, and those things just creep up on you. Keeping things like your CRM up to date and in sync with like who is working on what. It is.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
we were trying to run our reports. We were trying to figure out how many clients we've had, or how many clients we have today. Because then you're trying to figure out what the definition of a client is. Like, if somebody doesn't use you for 3 months, are they still a client? Like if somebody has 3 subsidiaries, is that 4 clients or is that 1 client? Like,
so reporting becomes a lot more difficult.
It's interesting, just fun, stupid stuff.
Yeah, things you just would never consider on the system side at scale. Patty and Scott have come in through our acquisition of Catching Clouds, now 6 months ago, maybe a little longer than that. They've really seen it too, of going from a firm that had, 40 clients into one that has, 700, where holy cow, the scale is really different. And there's been some places where they've been very excited about it. I think Patty's been really excited to wrap her head around, like, okay, she loves data. Like, and I'll say this has been a good fit for Patty because she loves solving data challenges and process challenges. And
she actually figured out the question, how many clients we have.
It scale.
She actually figured it out
like
this week.
solving those kind of problems and their challenges, then guess what? Scale and growth will create those for you. So having team members who are like, oh, cool, I want to get in there and wrestle around with, like, how do we do this? as a much larger organization, we've got multiple billing systems or ones that are no longer have functionality that can actually fit. So we're kind of starting to straddle into the mid-market almost a little bit.
Yeah.
So having some team members who like solving complex data problems is going to be really helpful. I've seen this lately with a couple of their firms who brought in the acquisition or just built these more data focused, process focused team members because it just gets complicated.
Yeah.
And so I will say that part of fixing those kind of problems isn't super appealing to me. Like that would be exhausting. If you and I had to go fix those things, it would be a disaster.
Yeah.
There are people probably within your team or maybe other accountants who go, oh, give me a good complex problem like that. You should be looking for some of those either in your midst or people to add to your team because you're going to need some help on dealing with all of the integration data issues. There's a whole host of things out there. We're always happy to kind of talk through them. I think it was a good format today to be able to do that when you're like, let me just drop this out there for people.
Fresh off the panel. Yeah.
They jumped on it. And then we're like, oh, and not only that, they just kept going with it. So we typically talk on this about all the great things around scale and growth, but there are some things to consider. For us, it's still the very noble and worthy pursuit. We love it, but I would say we've learned some things to where
change the world, hack the planet.
Yeah, do some things in advance to prepare, and it'll help you out. There's a lot of it,
or just know
has to do with knowing.
Just
your
mindset.
Change. Just have a mindset like, oh, this is going to feel different, and
you got to like change.
You got to like it. You got to like it. So, all right, we're sitting out here by the beautiful pool area. We got to get back to that. We can't be on this. So
you got to plug. You got to plug Tallyfor while you're doing that. Tallyfor for all your tax needs. Like Tallyfor is your intermediary between QuickBooks Online, Xero, and your tax prep program. Don't worry about your M1s anymore with Tallyfor.
Thanks, Team Tallyfor. Peter,
Thanks,
you're awesome. You guys are great for all this. Let's do a quick rating of the beers.
Okay.
I've got mine pulled up. I really enjoyed this. Even though we're on the West Coast, this is a good hazy, more East Coast IPA, New England-based IPA. This one's getting a 4.25.
4.25?
Yeah, for me. Nice good rate. I've had a lot of those lately that have been good and consistent. Matthew, you've got the
Peninsula Lager. I was also pretty impressed with this one. Like it's not my for if you're returning watcher, it's not my kind of beer generally. So I was gonna we're at the pool in San Diego, so I went with something lighter. It's kind of semi-sweet. It's a good call. I'm gonna go a solid 3.75. I was like a pretty good.
Okay. I'm having to look for this one, search a little bit here.
Pencil. That's it. Bay City. It doesn't have a thing. The Pennsylvania Lager.
Oh, that must be. It's a very light. Yeah. So what'd you feel about this one?
3.75.
3.75. Nice.
So,
okay. Nice.
Definitely don't forget if you want to sponsor the podcast, all you have to do is send us beer.
We got a few more coming up.
The Tallyfor guys know that now.
Tallyfor knows this. We have a few more we've talked to at the conference.
Oh yeah,
like, how do we sponsor? We're like,
all you do is send us beer.
All you do is send us beer. So it's been good. And don't forget, we had a bunch of great episodes in April. Check those out if you missed them. But the best way to not miss them, subscribe to the YouTube channel or just hit subscribe.
Or the podcast. We have a podcast too.
Exactly. I was going to say that for both of them. Hit subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast. It's there too. So hope for all you firm owners who are not here with us in San Diego, we hope to see you at an upcoming conference soon, but reach out to us anytime. We're always happy to catch up. So.
Going to Engage, going to XeroCon, both great conferences. We'll see about QuickBooks Connect now that they are going to have it in person, but hopefully see you guys live.
See you
live.
Cheers,
everybody.
Cheers, all.